this.
I mean, Kaylin, did you ever think, when you were a young girl growing up in Florida, that one day you'd be playing against Barcelona?
I didn't even know where Barcelona was, probably.
Oh my God. So let's.
It's like Barcelona, Florida.
Yeah. I thought it was next to Miami.
They speak Spanish? What's going on?
Oh man. Well, let's start with this clip right here. Basically, we'll play it through, but basically, essentially, what happens here is I think Pina dribbles from the top of the box. She cuts inside two defenders, playing a through ball to the near post to Savic, which I can never pronounce. Look at that. Galen recognizes the danger and redirects that ball.
That's some El Gato stuff.
Yeah, look at these reactions here. Look at this ball, but see where that ball's going, and I want to kind of walk this through with you, Kaylin, because it is about context. That ball's hit on the inside, so because you saw the picture and you knew where the danger was, you can't redirect that ball into the back post area. That's a goal if you do that.
Yeah,
it's like flop.
So let's kind of walk through this.
And truly, this is just reactional to try and get any piece of body behind it.
But I think Mike's point on this is there's a difference in reactional, like, okay, I'm just going to stick my hand out, right? So if you just stick your hand out and the ball, you're reactive in a sense of not proactive with your save, that ball could drop right into the top of the six. You have two Barcelona players right there, and that's a one touch in the goal, right? Yeah. But instead you follow through your hand. You're like regardless in your mind, split second, I got to get it out of here. And the follow through with your arm, and now it's a corner, which is great.
Yeah, I think I've been driven home that, chest forward, body weight forward.
No, your positioning is great.
And you're outside of the box,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What I loved about this was you can tell that your body weight's forward. You're standing tall. Like, you're not on your heels. You're not assuming it's going to be slotted near post. Like, you're staying big with power. And that allows you to make the save.
I was just going to say for like Negosevic, for a defender to have the type of savvy to cut that ball back inside, because I was reading near post. I was reading her slotting it near post. So
well, with a defender on her hip, you would think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, most goalkeepers would too as well, and cheat.
Yeah.
And
you know what? I don't think I had time to think.
Hey, by the way, this is like where you go to get like built up praise. So,
yeah, thank you. I feel great about it.
We can't tell you how many times we've had somebody on and we're like, this is just high level GKIQ, and you're like, I honestly don't remember what happened. Like, I just put my hand out.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I've learned the most playing at this level in just the last 5 weeks I've been at Arsenal is when you overthink and you assume, that's when you get in trouble, because the players at this level, especially at Barcelona, are able to see what you're doing, know what it was always that reverse psychology of like, oh, I know what the striker thinks, so I'm going to do this. Well, now it's the striker knows what you think, right? And they're going to do that. And so you have to be a lot more set and balanced and reactive. There's obviously times that you have to kind of guess on a situation a little bit early. It's all about, creating better chances. But a lot of the times I personally think that setting and holding before like guessing and moving is probably going to be a higher percentage save.
Yeah, we talked about this. I always bring this up. We had Michelle Akers on the show. We took a forwards perspective and the greatest of all time. And she said that. She was like, I am looking for that lean, that split second. I'm looking for you to keep coming. I'm trying to bait you. And she had said one of the worst things was like, I'm kind of in the mindset that you were, that I would just come up and make her beat me. I'd be like, all right, what are you going to do now? Like, I didn't bite. I didn't lean. I'm not running at you. And that's when you make the save. And I was like, I had no idea forwards thought that way. Like, I was the same way. I thought we had the one up on them, but they do.
Kaylin, I love the shift right here, because like Saskia was saying, a lot of goalkeepers would try to take that fast approach here. And instead, you just shifted across so that you were in position for that separation of hers right here. So, like, a lot of goalkeepers right here would be running out at that ball. And
Which
you're
is
like, nope.
exactly what she would want it, because she would have taken it and passed it right by you. But
Mm-hmm.
we talk about the fact that if you take that split second because you have defense around and allow your defense to recover, it makes the save easier for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's definitely a time to step and put them under pressure. But again, situational context. What is it? Angle of her body kind of facing away to goal. I don't really gain anything but putting myself out of position or out of balance, out of control of myself by moving forward. So by kind of holding my shape and keeping my angles closed, I have the best chance to react instead of, I mean, I do.
Hey, Sosk.
Hey.
Oh man, sweating is hot.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to say, Sauce, there's a humming in the background. I'm gonna be like, Mike, it's a fan, and I'm not turning it off.
No, it is absolutely the fan. I can hear the humming of the fan in the background for sure.
It's right here.
It's that hot, isn't it?
It is. If it's really distracting, I will turn it off.
Well, I mean,
I knew it.
The one thing you can do always is like mute yourself when someone else is talking.
It wasn't that bad, was it?
No, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It's definitely been worse in the past before. I know it's very warm right now. For those of you guys who are watching right now, we are going to be starting in a couple minutes right now. What you just saw earlier was last week's episode with Kayla Marquise of Arsenal Football Club. We're going to have Benny Diaz from Club Tijuana in a couple minutes right now. I'm actually really excited about this, because I think this might be our first Liga MX guest that we've had on the show.
I think it is too.
Yeah. Shame on us. Shame on us. They're south of the border, our neighbors to the border of the south, and lots of great goalkeeping going on down there.
I washed my hat and my brim's all messed up.
Oh. Speaking of that, didn't Angel City play Mexico on
Monday? They did. Yes, they did. They lost. They lost 2-0. Look, on 17,000 people, right? Yeah. And you're looking at like the hottest day of the year, and a holiday, and it was a great turnout. Again, Freya played a lot of the bench, backup goalkeeper, stuff like that, which I think is amazing, because coming into this final run into playoffs, and hopefully making playoffs, you want people to get time, and you want, you never know what's going to happen. You never know who you're going to need. And at the same time, you get a little bit of your starters, get their legs running, their gaming coming into the game this weekend. So, we'll see. I think it bodes well.
I think it's great, and I think one of the things too is that people like Britt, obviously, like getting that playing time, getting that run as a goalkeeper. Again, you don't know what could happen in the playoffs, like you're always talking about. We don't want anything, knock on wood, to happen, but things happen, and you want to make sure that your number two is ready to hop in.
Yeah, and we talk about that all the time. I mean, without these extra games, without the game against Tigres and without the game against Mexico, Britt wouldn't have played yet.
Yep.
And so, for her to get major games in against major competition is another thing. So
absolutely,
it's huge. So God forbid something happened to Dee Dee. She's not going to be like shell shocked. She's used to playing in front of 17, 20,000 people now, which, if you're not, it's interesting.
No, we you talk about that. You talk about, just there's that whole mental aspect, and especially when you're talking about playoffs, and now you're in these atmospheres where these fans are just really fervent, and the supporters are all over you and everything. If you've again, either been training or, playing reserve matches in front of, friends and relatives, it's just not the same thing. And that mental, it's so,
we talked about that last time. You can't, 2 podcasts ago, you can't, no matter what you try in practice, scrimmage against your own team, it's never the same as a game.
Yep.
Ever. It's never. And especially, like I said, in a stadium like the Bank and in front of 20,000 people. So I mean, I used to get 20,000 people at scrimmages at practice all the time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you really?
No, I'm kidding.
I thought you were like serious. I was like,
no, I'm not serious. I'm not serious at all.
That would be amazing. That would be incredible. Let me check with Benny right now.
We got to give a shout out to UCLA, number 1 in the country.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, super proud of those girls. I mean, going to North Carolina and beating number 2 Duke, and then beating number 1 North Carolina, flip-flopping it and taking over the number 1 spot. It's not easy to do at home, much less to do it on the road. So.
Yep, absolutely. All right. It's so funny. So Benny, I think Benny's about to join us any second right now. He was like, when do I join? I'm like, now. You can do it now. You can do it now.
I wish we could. And next we have to go over some of the saves that Lauren made for UCLA.
Sure.
9 saves against Duke. Unbelievable. And then at the end of the game against North Carolina, some of the point blank stuff, she was El Gato. I yelled at the TV. I was like, El Gato.
Oh my gosh. What's up, dude?
I passed it on. Hey, Benny.
How are y'all?
Saskia was showcasing her Spanish skills right there, saying El Gato. So
let me hear it.
I said I was calling the UCLA keeper. I passed on my nickname to her. I said El Gato.
El Gato?
Yeah.
It's a good nickname. That's a good nickname.
Thank you.
Oh man.
El Gato.
All right. Well, let's.
He says it much better than I do.
Well, he's got a little practice.
Yeah.
I got a little practice now. I think I'm more comfortable on my Spanish than I am English now, to be honest. Not even a lie.
Are we doing the whole Spanish? Let's do it.
Here we go.
We're
The whole
doing
thing
it
in Spanish.
The whole thing
in Spanish. Here we go. Here
All
we go.
right.
Ready?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid, live from beautiful and lovely and balmy and humid and really, really hot Hollywood, California. With me, using her fan because it's that hot right now, 99 World Cup winner, Angel City co-owner, Saskia Weber, and somebody that knows a little bit about the Heat. We have Club Tijuana goalkeeper Betty Diaz joining us. Benny, is it hot out there in Tijuana?
Yeah, honestly, I'm sweating literally right now as we speak. It's pretty sweaty. It's hot. It's hot.
Yeah.
Now, one of the craziest things about this, Benny, is like people are like, wait a second, what's going on here? You guys have never had any Liga MX people. What's going on? It's first off, shame on us, because obviously a lot of goalkeeping going down there, but there's not that many American goalkeepers that are playing down there. So, Benny, how did that end up happening for you?
I think me having both nationalities growing up, I was really focused on Liga MX, being a fan, my dad and everything. So it was just like, I always focused on going to play in Mexico, and thankfully I had the opportunity to have a goalkeeper coach and a coach to help me reach that goal, which was get a tryout in Mexico and land a spot in Querétaro's U15s when I was 14. So, yeah.
That's crazy, man. Saskia, us here in Southern California, obviously we're really familiar with the whole dual nationality thing. Obviously you're a dual national as well too, with the Netherlands, but just, we were just talking about, Angel City, played Mexico's women's national team.
Yeah. The national team. Yeah.
Yeah.
My homie was on there, Emily Alvarado.
Nice.
Yeah.
They had something to prove after not qualifying for the World Cup. So.
I know. Yeah, they had to show out. They
do. And we always, there's something about the USA and Mexico, especially like when you have the men's games here in California and it's an away game technically for the US men.
It's always crazy just how much Hispanic people show out. But honestly, it's growing. A lot of American people are getting into American soccer and like supporting the US Federation and everything. And it's really competitive. It's cool to see it, honestly. Like, I'm divided. I think a lot of people would say the same. It's just like,
Well,
hold on. Let's hear that U.S. Soccer heard that you're divided, so they can start making those call-ups, right?
I think more so on, like, I don't know as much on the men's side, but if you look at the crossover between the women that play for the Mexican national team that have played their college careers here in the United States, but now at the league down there that's doing well, you know, we have Mia Official at Tigres and everything like that. I think like you're seeing so much crossover between Mexican Americans going back and playing pro there. So the league's good.
Yeah, I think the league is growing down here in Mexico with all the women's soccer, and like how you said, I've seen, well, knowing a couple of them, like knowing a couple of the girls on the national team, and they're from the States that grew up in a American system, going to college and all that, because I think it's more developed, honestly, in the U.S. Than it is here in Mexico, but it's growing. Don't get me wrong, the league is getting better. I honestly think Tijuana, the girls are gonna play San Diego, I believe, San Diego Wave. I heard something about that, so that's interesting. I think that's dope when we have the chance to play even men's. Like here in Tijuana, we played against San Diego Loyal, who's a USL championship team. I think it's cool to be able to participate in that. It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, Benny, you know, you're obviously bringing up that whole thing with the Tijuana, San Diego. I mean, a lot of people who might be listening overseas right now or watching the show around the world don't realize the fact that Tijuana and San Diego are literally 20 minutes from each other.
You can see Tijuana at night from San Diego.
No, some people don't know where Tijuana is at. You just need to think of San Diego, and we're literally right next to San Diego. Like right now, I can drive 10 minutes to the border, and I don't know, it could be 20, 30 an hour line, but after that, I'm literally in San Diego, or, you know, go to downtown.
The line's longer
relax,
than the drive.
Go to the beach. Literally, the line is longer than the drive. People just don't realize how close it is. I think that's cool too. Like I was used to being in Mexico now. Being in Querétaro, which Querétaro is like central part of Mexico. It was hard to like speak English on a daily, and just be able to go to the States was just once or twice a year. So it was kind of odd for me to go back to the States and speak English. So I was just like, a little bit nervous.
It's funny that you bring that up, Benny, because I think, you know, one of the really cool things that we're starting to see, you know, and Saskia, feel free to step in on this as well too, because you talked about on the women's side, is that with the Mexican American players, there's a lot of players in the youth system that are playing on both sides. That are you know, that have, you know, relationship with both countries. For you, I know that you've spent some time in the U.S. system. Was that something that was really difficult for you, or was it something kind of like you were like, you know what, I'm also, you know, proud of my American heritage too?
I think I was proud of it because like it's hard, like I said, because I was raised in Texas. I was raised in the States. So, but my parents are Hispanic. My whole family is Hispanic. So you're born speaking Spanish, and then you're raised speaking English, and then you go into a system where it's like, for me, it was the first time like playing with people in a long time that some of them just knew English, you know, the players that were on the national team. But there was some 3 like same players as me with dual nationality, which it was cool. Like, you know, we would speak Spanish, but it wasn't that hard because I was familiar with the language. Maybe if I would have been raised in Mexico and not have the knowledge that I have, it would have been kind of awkward for me to like, I'm not familiar with like maybe the slang, or maybe just how well spoken my English might have been. But I feel like, being like me, I never went on the Mexico national team, but I'm pretty sure it's a different vibe than it is. But I'm never like, I'm proud of being both. Like if it would be with the Mexico national team, I would love it. If it would be with American, whichever one, I think they're both great systems.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, when I went and played pro in Japan, and especially as a goalkeeper, so that we have to say that, because you have to give direction. You have to communicate. So for me going to Japan and speaking Jinglish, It was like I learned how to speak very like direct and very quickly. Just like I knew what right, left, like right, left, like step. Like it was like it had to be short and sweet. It's not easy.
No, it's hard. Go ahead, Michael.
No. Oh no. I was just gonna say, Benny, and you can interrupt me anytime, dude. This is all about you. But I wanted to say, one thing that I heard from a lot of players that have gone over, got scouted by Liga MX teams who have American lineage as well too, is they go over there is that they find it difficult for players to embrace them as Mexican. They're seen very much as American, and they almost have to prove themselves on the field. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At the beginning, it was kind of like that. In Mexico, there's a whole different. I don't know how to explain it, but a lot of like they like to mess with you and stuff. They like to like not be like mean, like in a bad way, but they like to joke around a lot over here in Mexico. And somebody coming from the States, if you're not used to like being like that much like jokes on the team, you might take it the wrong way. But at the beginning, yeah, especially because it's different, the slang or the way you speak in soccer terms than it is normal. And so it was kind of hard for me to just come in like just like that. Like, so they would like make fun of me. They'd be like, oh, that's not how you say this. And they'd like, they'd kind of, they have a name. They call it pocho. They call you pocho. That's what they call like people that are from the States, but their parents are Hispanic. And it is kind of hard at the beginning, depending on the teammates that you have. But it's kind of hard.
So it's funny you said that with the pocho thing, because like I don't know if you know this about me, but I was actually born in Venezuela. Okay. and I moved to the United States when I was around 8 years old or so. So Spanish is my first language. But because I was raised in the United States, regardless of the fact that I was born over there, when I went to Venezuela to try to play, it was very much an American playing over there as opposed to, a Venezuelan coming back home type of a thing. So that's why.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's why I was kind
they don't see it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's difficult. It really is a little bit difficult at the beginning because, like you said, they don't see you as a Hispanic. They don't see that your parents are Mexican. They just think, oh, you were raised in the States, you're American.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah. Well, and I think too is like they probably have preconceived notions too. Like, like I think a lot of people around the world, and you probably know better than I do, is like they have a preconceived notion that Americans, consider themselves entitled, or that they're, they deserve this. And, that I'm sure that that's something where like you have to, especially as a goalkeeper, and you have to work with others and coach others. It's something you immediately have to, show them that like you're here to help the team. It's not about you.
I think I wonder, and we'll probably like coming from Texas, going and playing. The style, was there a big shift in the type of goalkeeper training? Things that you were learning that, we always talk about like different styles from different parts of we could talk about like the Norwegian, whatever the hell that thing is. The catch.
Like, the catch. Yeah, that weird catch. It helped me that in Texas I had a Mexican goalkeeper coach that played professionally in Mexico. So he was the one that helped me a lot. Because honestly, like technique wise, training wise is different in the States than it is in Mexico. Like the focus, it's really different. Like you can tell just from like, I don't know who I could compare from MLS to Liga MX, but you can just see right away that it's different technique wise. So it kind of was a different training sessions. And the thing was, I never really grew up with an American system growing up as a goalkeeper. Like I never really got into American goalkeeper training. It was just like Mexico. So I was familiar with it, but then that's when everything started happening with like where coaches wanted to goal kicks, bring it out from the back. And then it was like, now you had to be an extra man on the field. So that's when it kind of changed for like, I think everybody in general. but it was just like, okay, you have to get familiar with it quick, because there were some coaches maybe in the youth systems that wanted you to be really good with your feet. So now it's like, okay, now I got to make saves. Now I got to be good with my feet too. So that's when it got hard. But I really enjoy like the training in Mexico. I think like a lot of the goalkeeper coaches are similar, but everybody has their own different philosophy of what a goalkeeper really is and how they have, because every coach will tell you they want their perfect goalkeeper to be a certain way. But like the base of training technique wise, I feel like a lot of like goalkeepers, we're all pretty even here in Mexico, as in like the way you see them train, it's similar, but everybody obviously has their own technical abilities that'll make them stand out from others.
Right, of course.
You know, it's funny you say that, Benny, you know, and before we move on to the topic, Saskia, I just kind of want to bring this up with you. I think a lot of people, especially in the United States, you know, they look at something that's for quote unquote foreign or different than the way that they're coaching or their way they're training, or the activities are different, or the focus is different or whatever. And they think bad, you know, and I think we all need to start recognizing, and I'm sure you feel the same way, Saskia, that, you know, we can all learn from each other, and there's different parts of the world that have different training techniques.
Yeah, and we've always talked about like it's a gray area, and it's actually what suits the individual. You know, certain styles, you know, whether it's the K-save, the block, the, you know, traditional dealing with 1v1s, whether it's the weird Schmeichel catch, whether it's, you know, whatever it is, like if it works for you and it elevates your game, you know, it could be as simple as like, do you do the old school kick up when you're recovering, or do you do the spin around? Like I have some goalkeepers, one works great for, it doesn't work the same for the other. It's what's efficient and better for you. And you take little bits from everywhere and make yourself the best goalkeeper.
Yeah. Benny, there's a question here from the audience right here. This is from Scotty Shoots and Edits. And he goes, how did you improve your distribution as a goalkeeper?
As a goalkeeper. I think, well, obviously, most important thing is you having confidence in what you're doing and making sure that you're following through. Because if you're doubtful, like say on a goal kick, if you're trying to look for your right back, your left back, your wing backs, or if it's like a ball to the 9, like to the chest and down, if you're like hesitant, you're not gonna like do it good. If you're confident in what you're gonna do, your distribution is gonna get better because you're confident in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Once that confidence kicks in, it's way easier for you. And you don't even, it's not like, yes, obviously you have to practice it on your own or even at training. Because I think the best thing to do is in training, if you're practicing something, do it there. That's what training's for. At the end of the day, if you mess up in training, yeah, it could look a little bit bad. But if you don't even want to practice it in training, you're not gonna do it in the game. So just do things that you wouldn't do in a game. Start doing them at practice. If it's a low volley, if it's a hard pass to the 9, like from the chest and down, you know, just keep on practicing and focus on doing it with both feet. You know, I've always tried to, in a game, be prepared because you never know when you're gonna get the ball to your less
dominant.
Like, you know, I'm left-footed. If I get it to my right, I have to be prepared that I'm able to kick it away or you know, give a pass with my right. So just practice on both and then be sure, do it at training. Be sure of what you're doing, and that'll get your confidence up.
And I think, Scotty, gone are the days. I think that young kids, coaches have to stop teaching goalkeepers to chip the ball because, like, you know, when you're little, they want you just to get it over the defense, right? Just get it out, get it over the defense. And it's your service. You have to train kids young that it's a driven ball. Like you have to be able to knock a ball like you would, you know, so you can knock it to the 9, so you can put it over the top. You can hit it short, but you know, you got these young kids. They come in and their technique is so wrong on how to kick a ball and how to serve a ball, and you have to kind of retrain them.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree completely. I want to shift the focus a little bit because I know we're limited on time right here in regards to kind of the defensive side of the game here, and I want to talk about staying high. Today's topic, guys, is staying high, staying on your feet. Benny, you're really good at this. For maybe some parents out there who are listening who don't know what we mean by staying upright or staying on our feet, what do we mean by that?
I think staying high, because like how you're saying it, is just knowing on when you should start lowering your body's like your posture, on deciding on when, if it's when they're getting closer, when to start engaging, when your focus starts to be more on the ball and you have to be more alert and be prepared on, because if you're too low on a shot, you're not going to be able to react to it. And especially depending on goalkeepers, there's some goalkeepers that are really tall but then they're really low. Like, there's no need for that, sometimes. So you have to try to, like you said, make yourself big instead of going down low, because then it's real hard to reach high areas, or it's hard to like kind of stretch yourself. And just making yourself be big and always like, chest forward. That's how I always try to practice it, because if you're leaned back, your chest is back, you're never going to be able to have momentum to go forward and move your hands.
But by the way, I love the fact that you did that right there. Showed that visual right there, because I saw the difference between you leaning back and you coming forward.
Yeah, no.
And the confidence, just the confidence in the posture right there.
No, you always have to you have to be brave. You have to be brave. Come on, you gotta have a big chest out forward.
You do.
One situation,
You want the players.
There's surgery for that. There's surgery for that. You'll be fine at the end of the day. A little nosebleed ain't gonna hurt anybody.
You want the attacking player to see you, not the goal. And you want to stay big. Like you said, Benny, you want your chest, you want your momentum forward. If you're loaded too early and you're small, you have to reload to react, right? So you want to stay big, load at the last second so you can move, even if you stay on your feet. You don't want that super wide stance, so you can't move laterally, but you want to be big. You want them to see you. Here I am. You're not just seeing net. And you can tell it in goalkeepers, and it's having that presence. You can look at a goalkeeper the same size, same height, and everything, and you could see the goal or you could see the keeper.
Yep. And Saskia, I've got a question for you, because obviously, you've worked with a lot of youth players, over the years and everything like that. Why do you think so many young goalkeepers default to dropping down and trying to go down at the ball, and then the ball just kind of slips underneath them or goes right over them?
I think they're all confused with their technique. We've talked about, I think, for dealing with a 1v1 or something, I think that a lot of them are using the block and the K-save wrong at the wrong time. They're going down 5, 7, 10 yards behind the ball, 7 yards behind the ball. This is a save that's meant to, when you go down, when you get low, is a save that's supposed to happen right on top of the ball. So it's like kaboom, it's hitting you. You do it too soon, you're too slow at it, and stuff like that. So you want to maintain that size, that momentum, and then when you get closer to the ball, then you can go down or see where the ball is going to go, or give yourself the chance to react. But I think I think they're not being trained right. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. Benny, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think sometimes it kind of got froze. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
I had some bad connection, I think, but I think that's one of the biggest things too, is misinterpreting when to use. We call it X, like when you go on a 1v1 and you spread. I think like what Ter Stegen is great at. Joe Hart was really good at 1v1s, and I think the misinterpretation comes in on the distance between the player, the ball, and you.
Yes.
When to use it and when not, when to spread, because if distance is too far, there's no need to spread. You just stay big and you wait, and hopefully the ball is coming close to your body, and you can react with a hand, with feet, whatever you need to use. If it's coming at your body, let it hit your body. And that's what I speak to a lot with my goalkeeper coach here in Tijuana. Thankfully, honestly, he's open to a lot of things, and we work on that all the time also. And he tells me one of my problems is I tend to move my hands, I swing them forward. when I come on a 1v1 situation. He wants me to leave him firm, and he has a point there. And that's what happens to a lot of goalkeepers too. You move your body way too much, and you're never in a firm position to wait for the ball to impact you. He's like, don't, like my goalkeeper coach says, don't try to move your hands towards the ball because it's a close impact shot. You're not going to be able to move your hand towards it. Just let it hit your body. If it's going to be on your chest, your hand, your feet, so just maintain a firm position. Don't, because a lot of goalkeepers also tend to, like, you know, move your chest down instead, or like taking your behind you. And so I think it just varies. You have to detect the distance on when to spread, on when to be able to wait.
Well, I want to do this right now. I want to start showing some visual, kind of examples, some pictures, as they like to say, and we're going to use you, Benny, as the breakdown example, which I'm sure you'll enjoy right now, so that people have some ideas here. So,
examples of me?
we do very good at showing good examples.
Benny's like, are these a bunch of goals getting scored on me?
Y'all couldn't find a better goalkeeper? Are you sure this is not a goal I'm getting scored on?
No, we wouldn't do that to you.
Unless you ask, and there have been some goalkeepers who've asked.
No, it's fine. No, we don't have to show those right now. Save that for another day.
So this is in the 38th minute. This is when you were on loan with the Oakland Roots. Shout out to Oakland Roots over in USL. So basically, you're in a high position right here, and it looks like what happens is, Emra, is it Clementa? Is that how you pronounce it? He tries to head the ball back to you, right? Yeah, he tries to head the ball back to you, but unfortunately, it's not a great header, and you have to immediately step forward, stay high, because Frank Gaviria picks it up, and you kind of approach it, but you kind of recognize that you don't have enough time to smother it, so you kind of just hold position there, and then you let like you're saying, you let the ball hit you here, stay high, and make that save with your body. And then what I love about that is this immediate recovery. Look at that right there, the cat, El Gato. Getting right back up. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
On first instance, I'm playing a high line, like you said, because it's a long through ball. So I'm waiting to see if there's any chance I could play it, and then trying to honestly, what I've realized in the couple games I've played, if it's either in Liga MX or USL Championship, is the most important thing that happens in a game, especially for goalkeepers, I think, is the decision making. The decision-making is always going to be the most important thing, because at the end of the day, the ball comes at you in less than a second, less than 2 seconds. And, honestly, what helped me there was to realize that ball's not going to get to me. But the closer I am to the opposition is going to help me to be able to have, more of the goal covered. So that's why as soon as I saw that ball is short, I took my 2 steps forward. And as soon as I realized he's going to hit it, I just spread, but I try to not go down so fast, or, like you said, just try to be quick and hold my ground.
And I think this is exactly what we're talking about. Like, if you go down too soon here and you're too far from the ball,
it
gets over you. If a lot of goalkeepers come flying to smother, you're going to get beat too, because the ball's on his foot, right? So he's kind of maybe hoping you do that as well. So stay big. And now, like we always say, Mike, he has the pressure of people recovering. So he knows he's got to make a decision fast. He didn't bait you. You didn't come flying at him, because he would have passed it under you or by you. You didn't do the X save, as you guys call it, too soon. So he's got nowhere to go. He's got nowhere to go.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it touches his foot, and by then you're already in a position where he can't see the goal anymore, because you're right in the space right there. And I think and personally, Benny, I think a lot of the reasons a lot of young kids chase for this ball is just kind of like, they think that that's what they're supposed to do. They're like, oh, I have to pounce on a loose ball. That's what I'm told. I'm supposed to go run at that ball and go down on that ball. Literally no way you're going to get to that ball.
Yeah, and that's the decisions
if he drops early too. Yeah, if you drop down like you're saying, that either that player identifies quicker and he tries to take you on, and you make a PK, and now it's like, you're caught in no man's land, and you're down on the ground, and you knock them down into PK. And honestly, it seems like it's a goalkeeping error, you know, because like you said, if you do stuff too quick and you don't think about it, and that's when the mistakes come in, you know, like you said, plays happen like that. That play was a quick play, you know.
Yeah.
So you have to make a decision real quick.
You know, Suska, one thing that I love right here, you know, if you're looking at this here, is the simple fact that like his chest, like Benny, like you were talking about with the chest out. Suska, I love the fact that the second that ball's released, that chest that powers out to cover that space, you know, and as opposed to trying to throw his hand at the ball like he was talking about, you know, because he knows where it's going.
Yeah, and he's big. Bottom line. You've given him nothing but your body. You're right. And if he breaks your nose, you know, there's surgery for it.
I mean, it might help.
But you know what? You know what? But with you, but you know what? With your weight forward and you're leaning into something like this, it never hurts. It's when you don't do it properly, that's when it hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth it at the end of the day. I wish I could say I was already married with kids, so I don't look good anymore. But that's not the case. So I hope I don't get hit this much in the face. Ain't much to lose either way, but
oh my god, oh my gosh, man. I before we move on to the next clip right here, Benny, I just want to bring up this part right here. So after the ball's hit, your immediate get up is to find the ball line and scan and see where the danger is right there. And again, that's a situation where a lot of young kids, they go down right there, and the first thing they do is run after that ball. And then the ball just gets lobbed over them. They're done.
Yeah. It's great stuff.
Yeah. All right. I want to move on. Let's move on to this next clip right here. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Okay. So this is, I believe this one right here. This is against El Paso, right?
El Paso.
Okay. Yeah, so this is against El Paso. So Eric Oviedo plays a corner in. This is an interesting header right here that's played up in the air by Andrew Fox. It's towards Gomez over at the post right there. Now he's covered, but you recognize the fact that he's got that space on the near post. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you, but if the video is playing, I can't. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm kind of playing it. I'm kind of playing it short and then right there. So we can play it all the way through kind of. So again, ball plays up, boom, shifted. And now look, holding your position right here on the near post right there. Again, perfect position. You don't go down and dive for this ball because you see that it's coming too fast, that if you'd gone down, that ball sneaks underneath you. You stayed high and you let it hit your foot because it's already going there. And again, look at where you're playing it away from the dangerous space right there. So we can play it again in real time so kind of everyone can kind of see here.
We've talked about this as well, Mike, is that, you know, I think old school goalkeeping, like old before Benny was born, goalkeeping would have been like, get your hands to the ball, you know, drop down, get your hands to the ball. And how many times do we see that area right at the bottom, to the left of your foot or to the right of your foot? That's a difficult, you know, whether it's a front smother you want to try to do or whatever, you don't want to try to go down with your hand. It's going to take too long. Get your foot there, make the save, you know, but the only way to make that save is if your body shape and positioning is properly and your weight of your body is proper.
Yeah. And I like the shift across right here because you're like, as you recognize this is a weird header right here, but you follow it.
Yeah.
And then you see, and then you take a little bit of a step forward to cover that space so that you're in front of post. Because if you had been here and tried to make that save, that's going in. That's going in because you're going negative right there. So you got to get in front of that post right there.
No, it's good positioning for sure. But I think also,
as soon as I saw that he was gonna get to it, I took that step forward also to reduce the space. You know, knowing that. There's a number 18, Azoka. He's kind of diagonally. So if that ball is going towards second post, I know that it's going to most likely hit his body. So that's when I was like, okay, just try to cover that first post and take a step forward because I realized he was going to get to the ball first. You know, like you said, I just tried to stay high, let the ball hit me. At that point, it's a ball that's literally right outside of your of the box, of the small box. So it's like you have to just be ready for the ball you can't really, like you said, you can actually try to see my left hand is trying to go to the ball, but my foot like reacts to it first. But like you said right there, at that point, I think it's just better for the ball to hit you. Just don't try to get your hands quick. Just let the ball hit whatever part of your body it needs to. If it's your foot, if it's your chest, your hand, whatever, let it hit it.
Yeah.
And it'll go somewhere.
By the way, guys, just want to let you know that there might be a little bit of a delay on the Wi-Fi. So if anybody is stepping over, just be
probably
patient.
Mine.
All good.
I'm gonna tell my roommate to stop playing his video games.
Oh, there we go. That's what the issue. That's what the issue is.
That's what
right
it is.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on right here. So now we're gonna go from here out of here. By the way, Benny, before we kind of move on to that, like I think a lot of young goalkeepers, they hear of a goalkeeper, playing in a big league, and they don't recognize that people like yourself, it's still a stepping stone position where you have to find games where you can, and making that move to a lower division to get that playing time before going back to Liga MX was massive for you.
Yeah, I think it helped me a lot. I think, it's especially anywhere for a goalkeeper, it's really hard. And if you look into Liga MX goalkeepers that are starting, you see big names in every team, basically. I can name 3 goalkeepers right now that were starting that were either one year older or 2 years older than me. You have Sebastián Jurado at Cruz Azul, Carlos Acevedo, who's killing it at Santos, and Ángel Malagón at Necaxa. Those are 3 keepers that are 24, that are my age.
Try to say those names. Mike, try to say that one.
My mom would not be impressed if I tried to say those names.
No, but and like other than that, you have keepers that have been starters their whole life and that are like big time keepers. So me being in that spot too, being a second string keeper or third string, having to look for playing time like you said in a lower division, I think it was the best thing that could happen to me because it just there's no better way to get your confidence up than to play, than by playing. That's what's gonna that's the best thing anything could happen to you. If it's gonna be first division, if it's gonna be second division, if you're playing, your confidence is gonna go up. And Oakland's roots really helped me, opening the opportunity for me to go and having the chance to start the beginning of the season for them. And it also opened up a new it was something new, like saying like when you went to Japan, having to communicate in a different, even though I'm familiar with the language, I'm not familiar with soccer stuff in English. I'm not familiar with it. I've never been around like American coaches or like speaking English. So it's like half of my team spoke Spanish, half of my team spoke English. So it's like, man on, and then it's like I have to say it to the next player who only speaks Spanish. I'm like, te van, and then I'm like, who am I speaking to right now? And it's like I almost like literally caused the error because of my speaking skills. I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry.
I've been there. I was saying push your right when I meant left. It was a nightmare.
No, it's difficult. I was like, oh my God, I would have to look over and be like, who am I? Oh, you got a man on time. You got time. And then it's like, no. And then it's like in Spanish. So it's like, oh. But it was all great. Being at Oakland was great. I think that's the best thing any goalkeeper can do is getting minutes and then just being patient for your opportunity when it comes again, because it's really hard for us to get playing time.
I want to do this right now. Now I want to show you on the big time. Look at this. Look at the difference, Saskia, on the field right here. You can tell that the camera's way up 50,000 people in the stadium type of thing. So this is Club León versus Tijuana. The ball is swung outside the 18. It's a lifted ball by 14 into the box right here. And then it's a volley. But here's what I love about this right here, Benny, is that from this position right here, you don't go chasing that header. Yeah. You hold position, you stay nice and big right there, and are ready for that volley. You don't have to do a lot there. Just stand there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what helped me there is like what you said was being in the right spot your positioning is also really important. Sometimes you don't even have to make a big wow save, because you can say that save is a normal save or not that big, but also what helps a goalkeeper is your positioning. Like you said, if I don't, there's no need, because if, like you said, if I come out straight at him, like, oh, let the emotions go, like, boom, 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 you might not get to that ball, because then you're going to have it really close and you're not going to know how to react to it.
Yeah.
And, so it's like I had to realize quick that he was going to already have the ball in the air. So just try to hold your position and always, like, not to go down low and make myself not be able to move to any side that he kicks it, Thankfully, he hit it close to me and my foot was there.
Yeah, because sometimes, like, and we talked about this with Lloyd, I think it was, that sometimes if you're too close, like let's say you're 5 yards closer, right? You're not on him, then you can be beat with the pace and you can't react that fast. By giving yourself letting yourself just get into position, good enough position off your line so you have the far post covered and everything if he comes across, but you're still giving yourself a little bit of depth so you can react with whatever you have to.
And another thing I want to bring up too, Susk, is that the fact that, like, a lot of young goalkeepers don't recognize that based on the area that they are within the goal is going to determine how high they come up and approach that ball. If that ball was a little bit more direct, maybe they could take a higher position. But because of the way that ball was angled, they already have their post covered by just holding position right there. They don't have to worry about the ball getting slotted to the back post.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then see here. And then, so then again here, the pop right back up. So here, where's see here, right there, and then see immediate again, not admiring your save like a lot of young goalkeepers do, Benny, right? They'll make this save right here and they'll get up, they'll admire it. You're immediately chasing to find where's ball.
Spin. Yeah. You got to be always ready for the second play.
Absolutely.
That's some little I think more Mexican technique. The spin, I think that's more of the Hispanic. not really seen in the States. It's
that's
weird,
what I was
though.
talking
It was
about.
Weird.
Yeah.
No. In Oakland, my goalkeeper coach, he was like, "You spin really fast." I was like,
and that's what I was saying.
Gotta find different ways to get up. If it's
some kids do it.
If it's a tree, just like boom, or if it's gonna be a spin. But that's what you say. You have to know when. Can't always do it. If that ball gets deflected right back to the same player, there's no point of doing a spin. You just try to get back up, balance yourself,
Yep.
But so Susk, I know you got to run early, so Benny, we'll finish off together. But I want to go to this last clip before you go. Go ahead, Susk. Okay. Yeah. So this last one right here, this is against Atlas. It's a dribble in the corner, defended tight. So the defender tries to steal the ball right here. He doesn't get it. And then you're immediately called into action right there. I think that's, again, a situation where a lot of young goalkeepers panic right here. But you just take a slight adjustment of position, and height-wise, you're patient. You wait for the guy to take the shot, and then you just deflect it away. And again, immediate chase on finding where that ball is.
Yeah.
Patience.
It's like you said, being patient, knowing, like, after my defender gets beat, just because at that moment, the striker doesn't realize where I'm at.
Right, so look, his head's down.
Head's down. So I think that's really important, and I've been trying to learn it. My goalkeeper coach always tries to tell me that too, because it's always a learning thing on a daily basis at training. Yeah. And he's like, when the player starts coming forward, sometimes, because, like, let's say if that player gets the ball and he keeps on moving towards his left, what do we tend to do? We tend to shift to the same way. You get what I'm saying? Like sidestep. But that's when my goalkeeper coach always tells me, instead of taking a sidestep, why don't you take a step forward and you close his angle down? But not exaggerating, like you said, not boom, go just straight at him. But just like his head's down, take one step forward.
Exactly. And that's old school, and I'll tell you that. And I teach that as well. It's that, most forwards drop their head right before they take that shot, and that's when you take they saw you in one position, and if you take your pre-stretch when their head's down, now their angle's totally different, and that's when they're shooting. So it's a head down step. Absolutely. It's
so little. It's so little, Suska.
But that's how I was taught, because he saw you in one position, head down, and now you're shooting, but you're in a now you've closed the angle closer, not to the left or to the right. Old school.
And I think go ahead, Benny.
I think that's really important too. Like I said, sometimes we don't need to make a big flashy save. Sometimes big flashy saves are because sometimes we don't know where we're standing at in the goal, and we have to make an extra adjustment. And then it looks like so nice, like wow, like top class and everything. But then like in our own heads that we're man, if I would have been a step to my left, if I would have just caught that ball.
I say that all the time. I would be at practice. I'd be at practice, and the UCLA goalkeepers would be like, some huge flashy save, and Amanda and then would be like, whoa, and I'd be like, you think you could have been in the right position and taken a step to your right?
And just taking a step and caught that ball.
Just caught the ball. And they had a saying, only your mom and dad are the ones cheering on that one.
Exactly. It's like everybody else is like, wow, what a save. And then you're in your head, I'm like, bro, I could have.
And I'm standing there going like this. I'm like, why don't you just be in the right position, take a step to the right?
But I think you brought up a good point right there, in regards to Benny, in regards to the flashiness, and Saskia to the flashiness is that, people who aren't, let's say, trained in goalkeeping, Saskia, they see that and they go, oh, that goalkeeper has ability. So I think a lot of young goalkeepers feel like, especially in a showcase scenario, they have to make an action like that. Otherwise they won't get noticed.
And that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, you just made that so difficult for yourself as a coach. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, if you're in the you want to make the easiest save possible, not
exactly
not the flashy one that's going to end up on like a card with the guy.
No. Got to make the simple things look simple.
That's right. Benny, awesome. I got to jump off. Awesome. Come back on every time.
Oh, for sure.
And keep that face pretty.
Oh my God, that's gonna be hard. I've been hit a couple of times. I'm just. I told you I need to I need to get a wife and kids, and then don't worry, the ball can hit me anywhere. Then after that, there's no need for anything.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, dude, you're still in your early 20s. You don't need all that yet. You know what I mean?
I know. You're right.
Oh man. Well, I want to talk about this right here with you, because we obviously were just showing some of those plays and everything like that. Yeah. I think that a really important thing is a lot of goalkeepers are kind of wondering, like, okay, well, how do I learn to kind of stay high like that? How do I do that discipline? And I think one thing that a lot of goalkeepers, especially in Mexico, do is they use sticks and ropes to teach their bodies to be malleable and be able to be flexible from going high to low to high, and not having to overcommit to going high or low.
Yeah. Here with my goalkeeper coach, Oscar Doubt, he tends to use we'll do like some technique stuff, but then he'll always he'll be like, stay high. He'll tell me stay high. And then, cause sometimes it's always a learning process, and he's the one correct. He's checking my mistakes. He's like, you were too low on this play. If you're high, you'll be able to react, So it's like the sticks, and like you said, and the ropes, it'll help you, for future notice. The more you practice it, the more it'll help you to have it in your head for when a reality comes into a game, So yeah. I think it helps. I think and then just being patient is sometimes, like you said, I think more in younger goalkeepers, impatience is what, because somebody will tell them, you have to be quick to the ball. You have to be, like you said, you have to reduce as much space as you can. But sometimes in reality, it's not. You have to learn how to hold that position and just be in a set position. Like I said, ready for the action. Because if you're always rushing a player, they're never going to get you set. It might help if you're literally right in front of the player and he has nowhere to kick it to. Yeah. But if a player catches you off your line trying to run towards him, it's going to be easier for him to know what to do, So I think be patient.
I think one of the things that, I've noticed personally is that especially a lot of young goalkeepers is because they're their core isn't the strongest, the second they commit to going down or staying up, their body can't adjust on the fly. And I think some of the best goalkeepers, Benny, they can do that. Like, you're talking about Ter Stegen. It's like he can be in a low position and then the ball takes a deflect, or Keylor Navas, and takes an immediate deflection. And now all of a sudden he's able to kind of generate that power from his core and be able to shift across and get high immediately.
Yeah, and like you said, you're talking Keylor Navas. To me, he's one of the quickest goalkeepers. He's a class shot stopping goalkeeper. He's super quick. Like you said, Keylor Navas is the type of goalkeeper to be low, but he's just really fast. He's not the tallest guy, so it helps him that he's a little bit like average height and he's quick. But now you get into other cases of goalkeepers, even in the States, there's a lot of kids that are huge. They're like 13 and they're already like 6'3", and I'm like, bro. So it's like they have to learn how to. You have to learn how to be good with, like, okay, yeah, you're tall, but just being tall isn't gonna be everything. You have to, and that comes with time too. Like you said, it just comes with learning from your mistakes. And time, having more experience is gonna help any kid to learn, from their mistakes.
So right here, Damian GK is saying, when do you come to Dallas, Texas, to train with Pedro Cubillo? Do you know Pedro Cubillo?
I don't know who Pedro Cubillo is. I'll be.
What if Pedro Cubillo is just like is he a coach, Damian, or is he a kid that you want him to train with?
Pedro Cubillo. I've heard of the last name. I believe I've heard of that last name, Pedro Cubillo, but.
Pedro, if you're listening, please.
I know who it is. I think I know who it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to go train a couple of times on off season with D1 goalkeepers, and it was his indoor, I believe, but there was a different goalkeeper coach, and I got the chance to train with a couple of with a SMU goalkeeper. She's D1. Villanova goalkeeper, Emily Alvarado, Mexico's national team. So I think that's. I'll try to go soon, off season. Yeah. I'll be over there for sure.
Cool. Now, Emily's from Texas too, right? Is she from Texas or California?
She's from El Paso. Emily's from El Paso,
okay.
And yeah, but she went to TCU, and I'm from Fort Worth. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. And TCU is in Fort Worth. So It was funny because we had been following each other on social media, and I hit her up during quarantine. I went home for quarantine, and I literally hit her up. I was like, yo, you trying to get some training sessions in? She was like, yeah, I'm down. And we trained all quarantine. We were training. I had a friend of mine that had a indoor facility, and literally me and like two other goalkeepers, we would train. And we had some really good sessions. We were out there being coaches. We were preparing ourselves for when we were retired. So Emily's cool. She's the homie.
It's funny, man, because like I reached out to her during the I think it might have been during the quarantine, or it might have been whenever everything kind of came back or whatever. And I was trying to get a hold of her, and I think our DMs were going to like, that spam box. So like I don't think she was seeing them or anything like that. So I tried to reach out. I tried to reach out through the Federation. And they did not understand what this was at all. They're like very confused. They're like, is this a newspaper? Like, what exactly are you talking about right here? I'm like, it's a goalkeeper podcast. There's no such thing. You're making this up. You're like a fan or something like that. I'm like, no, I swear this is like a real thing or whatever. So Emily, if you're listening or watching,
they were like, nah, we're not letting that happen. I'm gonna tell Emily. I'm gonna be like, yo, what's up?
So I actually have a question for you, because I know Oscar did some stuff here in Southern California with Impact Goalkeeper Academy in Joe Velasco. Were you up here helping out with that a couple years ago? Were you up here for that?
Impact,
yeah.
No.
Torrance? Okay. A couple years ago, maybe a couple years ago. Yeah.
No, I've never really been around California except for these past 2 years that I've been at Cholos, but no, not here. Only in
Texas. I wasn't sure because I knew he did some camps, and so I didn't know if like you were starting your coaching career early by helping out at those camps.
I've been starting my goalkeeper coach. I've been trying to teach kids, but They
Have
might
you?
need to be teaching me some stuff. Yeah, I like to train kids because it's really hard to get. I feel like it's really hard to get goalkeeping coach in the States, or as long as that's how it was for me growing
Hmm.
up. Like to get like because a lot of goalkeepers growing up, I think they train with their teams. They train with the ball, like passing drills, and they just train as team players. And then they get into the goal, and it's like, all right, make the saves however you can.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't get like like for kids that are like for real trying to go pro and might not have the money or resources to get into a big club, or if you have to pay big money or whatever, it's hard for them to get the right goalkeeper training, so I think it's cool to
Yeah.
like, because you see yourself in like me growing up, like I said, thankfully I got the right goalkeeping training, and that's what really helped me, because I think when you're
Yeah.
young you have to learn, because then there's a lot of kids that go try out, a lot of goalkeepers or whatever that go try out at the age of 16, 17, but you're already competing against kids that have been in the academy system since they were 13. So
Yeah.
it just makes it really hard for them.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you said that, because I think one of the things, and this was posted by a guy named Stan Anderson out of Camp Shutout in Wisconsin, and he said,
Mm-hmm.
here was his question on the poll on Twitter that he just did recently. He said, if you are a goalkeeper and you're at a club that doesn't have a goalkeeper coach, should the goalkeeper have to pay the same amount as the field players because they don't have a goalkeeper coach, and if that's not the case, should the club pay for their goalkeeper coaching outside the club? What are your thoughts on that?
I think first of all, I think the club should look for a goalkeeper coach and have one. Like if it's a big club with more than one division, then maybe find one where that goalkeeper coach goalkeepers.
Yeah.
And if not, I don't like you said, that's not a bad thing also to get that kid, the goalkeeper, adequate training, and find the goalkeeper coach and maybe pay for it, if it's, because I think it's really important, really key for a goalkeeper, that a kid that's, I don't know, 11, 12 years old, that's he can't grow as a goalkeeper if he doesn't have any goalkeeper training. He's never gonna learn technically, like how to fall, how to dive. Like how is he gonna do it? It's not gonna. There's a point where they have to learn how to fall, how to get up. You know, and
Absolutely.
so I think they should find a way to either bring one into the club or pay for the kids goalkeeper training.
Yeah, I love it, man. And by the way, guys, I know a lot of you guys have been sending some DMs with questions and stuff. There's only so many we can get to, so trust me. If we don't get to them, post them on the Union Sports app, guys, and we'll throw that link up there right here. If you haven't subscribed already, it's a free app. Go in there, engage, start posting your own sessions, all your training stuff. We're featuring people on the social media as well too. But there is one question that I want to ask right here, because this is a question that comes up a lot in the United States, Benny, and that's from Damien. And he says, do you recommend me to play high school soccer? Because I don't know if you know this, but in the United States, a lot of players have to choose between playing for their high school or only playing for their club team, or doing both.
I never got. I never even got to high school. Hold up. What happened? Can you see me still?
I can see you still. Yeah, you're good.
Oh, because something happened on my screen, but
Okay. Can you see me?
no.
Can you see us?
Let me see.
What happened?
Something with the computer. Give me a sec. No, I don't know what happened. Was it on?
We can hear you.
Yeah. Oh, if you can hear me and see me, that's fine. I can't see you though.
Oh, gotcha.
But I'll text my roommate though. But I would recommend it. Like how I said, it was just like for me. I left at a really young age, and I think you would have to take in notice like how good of your chances are of you getting into a scholarship, because I know that's big over there going into
Yeah.
college and all that stuff. But if it just I think that's a hard choice. High school soccer to me maybe hasn't been the best. I think it's really hard to go that route to where you do real good in high school and then you get picked up by a D1 college.
Yeah.
If there's any chance to maybe go try out for academy systems, for youth systems in like MLS, I don't know how that works, but I think that would be a better route. It just depends on what somebody wants. If
Exactly.
you want to become a pro, I think it would be better to get into an academy system. If you're just trying to like well, like, help for your scholarship in the future, soccer's not really what you want, play high school and then hope for a good scholarship and keep playing soccer. So
And I
it
think
just depends.
Yeah, I think one thing, Benny, that you brought up right there, I think that's really important. I think honestly, Damien, you kind of also have to recognize, where are you in your development journey? Because, if you say, "Oh, I want to be a pro," but realistically you're not in that position yet to be in that environment, then you're only going to do yourself a disservice by going there and trying out when you're not ready, because they're going to see you at that level. So I think particularly, I think as a goalkeeper, you need reps. And if you're going to get more reps at your high school, then you're going to get going to a big club academy. I personally think you should probably be, if you play for your high school, you need to be playing for a club program as well too. You can't just be playing just for your high school. You need to be in an organized environment where you keep getting better. But the number one thing is wherever you are, keep getting better, keep growing, and opportunities will kind of come for you. That's me speaking personally, who's been through the American system, despite the fact it was 100 years ago. So I'm sure it's very, very different now. Well, Benny, I don't want to keep you too long, man, but if people want to connect with you, where's the best place for them to connect with you?
Wait, hold on. My friend's going to help me come put the screen.
Okay.
Just so that I can see you, because I don't like
not
talking to you. Oh my God.
Wait, what was it?
I
what
can
was
see you
it?
now.
Wait, what was it?
It's because he got like a call. It's his laptop. He got like a call.
Oh, okay.
And it closed everything up. And I was just like, oh my God, what do I do now? I'm not that good with computers.
Oh, all good,
But
man. So
I see you now. I see you.
Okay. So in the future, just to give you a heads up, so one of the reasons we have Wi-Fi issues sometimes is there's too many open programs. So just close all the other programs, because streaming takes a lot of bandwidth, as you know, playing video games and all that stuff. So it's basically kind of the same thing.
I don't think a lot of tabs were open. I see that, but I think it was just maybe he was playing in the room next door.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Well,
but I mean, like I'm down like to I appreciate you having me on here, and
for sure, man.
I'm down for any other questions anybody might have in the future or whatever. I really like to help young goalkeepers and stuff, and share their opinions or their thoughts, and have me say what I think.
Yeah. And obviously, guys, if you want to reach out to us directly, it's contact at insidethe18media.com or at Goalkeeper Podcast on all socials, including the Union. That's where we're doing most of our DMs now, guys. So DM us on the Union. Join the Union. Again, there's a smart link. It's on Apple stores, Google Play, on your desktop. It's free. Engage. Start posting your content, guys. We really, really, really want to encourage people to get on there. It's free. There's really no risk to you. You're not paying anything. So just come on there and start sharing, guys. And like I said, we're featuring every week. We're sharing on our social media, on our Instagram, a certain session or a training game every day that we like from a different user. So it could be you guys. It could be you. Well, Benny, honestly, thanks for taking all the time, man. We're really excited for this. What's kind of the next step for your journey right now? So are you playing with the 23s right now, or what's going on?
I haven't had the chance to get any minutes in with the senior team. But I've just been playing with the U20s, which is the reserves team. I still have contract here with Club Tijuana, so we'll see. It's basically in their hands still. But
Gotcha.
if it doesn't work out here, maybe seek to go back to the States or anywhere in Mexico. Just whatever's best for my future. Like I said, at the end of the day, minutes is gonna be most important for somebody, and I think like my mentality has always been um, to enjoy every moment of it, even the bad, the good, the not so good, and just to know where where I'm at, just know what I have, because at the next season I don't know where I might be at. It could be better, it could be worse, but and not to get so desperate because I'm not
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah.
Right now it has been tough for me. I'm not gonna lie, not being able to play, and then you're like, oh, I'm getting older, and then it's like, oh, but the goalkeeper position is really hard, and like
Yeah.
I always take and notice other goalkeepers examples.
Yeah.
There's keepers that have they didn't become starters till they were 26, 27. But the point is, once you get it, you have to take advantage of it.
Well, I mean, dude, you got a long way to go. How old are you?
23, turning 24 in
23.
December.
Wow. Wow. So you still got plenty of time, dude. Like you said, dude, most goalkeepers, their prime isn't until after 35. So like you got plenty of time, man.
Yeah, no, if I can get to that age playing, then I'm happy with that. Like you said. So I see it that way. Obviously, we would all love to start at the age of 20, 21. It comes to some goalkeepers, and that's cool. I think it's dope. Like when I
Yeah.
see a young goalkeeper starting, debuting, or whatever, I think it's dope. Like I've seen a Chicago Fire's goalkeeper.
Oh yeah,
So
Gaga. Yeah.
he's really young, and that's dope. And then here, like I said, whenever here in Mexico, when I see a keeper that's my age or a little bit older getting started, it's cool because it's like you've played against them or you're the same age, and it's like that's dope for them. They're getting their chance now. And then you have other goalkeepers like here in Mexico. Um, Gil Alcala, who's at Pumas, he's second string right now. He was with me at Querétaro, and I saw his whole process. He didn't even get into first team till he was 21, 22, like without no academy, like
Wow.
background, no nothing. He just pushed, and then like he was fourth string keeper at 21, third string keeper at 23, second string keeper at like 25, and then he became a starter at 26, 27. And then like he was starting for a good 2-3 years. He's second string keeper, but it's like I said, every keeper's process is different. So you just got to be
Absolutely.
patient.
Absolutely. Well, awesome, man. Well, guys, that's all the time on Inside the 18, and we are out. Later, guys.